Okay, welcome back. I think the best way to kind of speed through this game is to... When I used to play it as a kid, I used to kind of keep the same Pokemon, but if you want to go through it quick, you kind of have to just catch new ones everywhere. I guess the game's kind of designed that way. This guy's only level 13. I bought a bunch of Pokeballs. I don't like how this is. Maybe the next thing I'll buy is like a mic stand or something, because I don't like how this kind of is cut off here and the table sticks out with the microphone. Oops. Why am I doing this? I shouldn't level Rattata. He's not going to be with me for very long anyway. Okay, I wanted to talk about Prince of Egypt. I was thinking about it a lot today. Today was actually kind of a good day at work. Like, I didn't have much to do, and I did have enough work to keep me busy, so the day went by quick, but it wasn't work that was like stressful, which is kind of a rare day for me. So I was thinking a lot about, my brain didn't have to work too hard on the stuff I was doing, so I was thinking a lot about Prince of Egypt. I saw it a while ago, like 2 or 3 years ago on Netflix. I don't really remember liking it as a kid that much, but I definitely saw it. I noticed sometimes I say member instead of remember. I don't want to do that. I want to say remember. I guess I'll just talk about why I liked it. Sometimes I was thinking today, maybe the only reason I liked it is just because I really like that opening song, and I mean the animation's really good too. I don't know if I really appreciate good animation as much as other people, or like I notice it that much. I mean, you can tell it's really well animated, but I mean, if you're watching the movie, you kind of get lost in that anyway, so it's not... The story's the most important thing. I think... I didn't look this up, but I think Hans Zimmer did the music. I guess I don't really like the other songs that much, but the opening song is like... I think is really, really good. I really like it a lot. So Prince of Egypt is about... It's the Moses story. It follows it pretty... exactly the same as the Old Testament, I think. I haven't read the Old Testament version in a while, but I don't think they changed anything. So it starts off with this opening song about the Israelites and their in slavery in Egypt. And the song is about... It's called Deliver Us. And it's the Israelites like crying out to God. Kind of like, we're your chosen people and we're dying here in the desert. There's only like 1,000 of us left or something in the whole world. That light is starting to bother me. need to get a better lighting thing. So the Israelites are dying and they're scared and they're crying out to God, save us, deliver us. It's not there's not a lot of lyrics. I really like, it's like, Elohim, God on high, can you hear your people cry? Help us now, this dark hour. There's a land you promised us. That's the song. I don't know. I like it a lot, but it's I don't know. It's like a dumb kid song, but. It's very powerful. I guess that's Hans Zimmer's specialty. But it feels epic. He's very good at epicness. That song feels epic. I think the story in itself feels epic, but the song matches the story well. So the Israelites are suffering, and then there's cuts to Moses and his mom, and Moses is a baby, and his so this is the part I always forget. The Pharaoh is killing babies for some reason. I always get this mixed up with Jesus because King Herod killed babies when he heard about Jesus. I was thinking about that today too. I was thinking about how King Herod's kind of like, there's a line in Game of Thrones that's like, Tyrion says to Joffrey, we've had a lot of idiot kings and we've had a lot of murderous kings, but we haven't had a lot of idiot murderous kings. I feel like that's what King Herod is. He's a horrible person who kills babies, but he's also kind of an idiot because he couldn't kill the one baby he was supposed to. It's also kind of funny to think about Herod's advisors coming to him and being like, there's a king born in Bethlehem or whatever. They're calling him a king, and Herod's like, I'm the king. There's no other kings. I don't know. This baby isn't a king. I'm the king. Kill all the babies, and then I'll be the only king. Okay, and then he doesn't even kill the right baby. Good job, Herod. I got sidetracked. I can just press A and look at this. God's chosen people. Okay, so Moses is adopted by the Pharaoh and his wife and their son. They find him in a river and they adopt him. And he grows up, and I don't think he ever knows that he's an Israelite. That's probably important. He knows he's kind of different, but he doesn't know why, and his parents are like good parents to him. They treat him well, and they love him, and they raise him. Why did I do that? I'm not paying attention. And they tell him, yeah, you're one of us. You're an Egyptian. And so he doesn't think anything about slavery or the Israelites, or he doesn't think about them that much. And then something happens where he like sees his sister, I think, in a camp, and he remembers who he is. And he goes back to his dad, and he's like, "Is this true? Am I an Israelite?" And then he starts thinking about the Israelites and why are they slaves? I'm an Israelite. I'm not a slave. And the Pharaoh's just like, well, this is the way it is. The Egyptians are the rulers. The Israelites are the slaves. We need to have it this way. Otherwise, Egypt will fall. It needs to be this way. I'm sorry, but you're an Egyptian. You're one of us. So you don't have to worry about that. And for a while, Moses is like, okay. But then eventually he leaves. So at first he leaves and he goes to the desert somewhere, and he meets like a group of probably like runaways or something. It's been a while since I've heard the story. But so he goes to his dad, the Pharaoh, and he's like, okay, this is the way it is, but I just have no part in it. Like, I'm an Israelite and I'm an Egyptian. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here, so I have to leave. I can't be here. And his dad's like, maybe he's more upset about it, or maybe he's like, okay, do what you have to do. And he leaves. Moses leaves. He goes to the desert for a long time. Oof. And he has like a good life in the desert. He meets these outcasts, and they accept him, and they treat him like family, and he feels like he's found his place with these people. And then one day he sees a burning bush. He's like a shepherd, I guess, and one of his sheep goes away, and I'm gonna die. So he gets a vision from God, and God's like, I have a purpose for you, for your life. It's to free the slaves. And I guess in a more modern story, maybe you would consider it lazy to just have God say, well, this is what you're supposed to do. But I don't know. I don't hold that story to a modern standard. Why would you? It's and in the Old Testament, it gives like details about. It's like one of the only places where it gets detailed about a vision of God, where like Moses comes into this kind of cave area, and it gets like specific details about like the bush being on fire, but it's not burning up, and Moses can't look at it, and he takes his sandals off because he realizes it's like sacred, and he doesn't want to disturb like the sacred ground. And the visuals in the cartoon are really good too. So this story holds up. So Moses, I guess he's probably like, he refuses the call. He's like, I have this great life now. I finally found out, like, I'm around people who accept me finally for who I am, and I like being a shepherd, and Jesus is like, I mean, God's like, I know, but I have like a purpose for you. Like, this is the whole reason why everything that's happened to you has happened, is for you to do this thing. I guess you can deny it, but this is your purpose, and I'm telling you what your purpose is in your life. And then I'm sure Moses goes back and he doesn't want to, but then something happens where he's like, I need to free my people. You're just gonna, I should just get rid of him. So Moses comes back to Egypt, and I think it's like 30 years later. This is a part I kind of forgot. I thought the Pharaoh is his brother, which is okay. I think I'd like it more if it was his dad. I think that's probably just because I want everything to be Star Wars, so I want Moses to be Luke, and I want the Pharaoh to be Vader, and I guess Obi-Wan is God. But the brother thing still works. I still like it. I guess it's yeah, it works. It feels sacrilegious to say it worked. I get to decide if it works or not. but I kind of do. Like, if I don't like the story, then I don't like it. But I do like the story. So he comes back, and there's probably a scene. I think the movie does a good job of making like the Pharaoh and the Egyptians not seem like terrible people. Just like, this is the way things are. So he comes back to see his brother, and his brother's excited probably to see his brother again, like, after so long, and he's like, look, I'm the Pharaoh, and like, let's throw you a feast. Let's celebrate. You're back. But he can kind of tell something's different. And so I wrote down some stuff that I liked. So the Pharaoh's like, let's celebrate, you're back. And Moses is like, I'm not here for that reason. I'm not here to celebrate or to be back with you guys. I came back for the same reason that I left. I told our dad, I can't live with my people in slavery, so that's why I'm back. You have to let my people go. And then this is just me editorializing, I guess. The Pharaoh's like, you know what our dad said. We can't let the Egyptians go. That's part of the society. Egypt will collapse if they if we let them go. And Moses, he doesn't say this, I don't think, but he's like, I know what our dad said, that Egypt will fall if we let the Israelites go, but I'm telling you that it will fall if we don't free them. Like, I'm actually here to help. I want to save Egypt, but you have to listen to God. You have to free the Israelites. And then the Pharaoh kind of turns on him. Maybe he says something like, "What do you mean, God? Your God, your culture, your Israelites. Is that why you this isn't about God. This is about you and me. Maybe we didn't treat you right. Maybe you felt like an outcast, and so you went out into the desert and you became a sorcerer, and now you're here to punish us. That's why you're here." And Moses is like, "No, listen to me, brother. I want to save you." And he's like, get out of here. You're not my brother. You were never my brother. And he leaves. And then there are the 7 plagues, which is another another kind of thing that you probably wouldn't do in a modern story. It's kind of repetitive. It's like, well, we have these 7 plagues, but how do we integrate it into the story without it being repetitive? And it doesn't really, it's kind of repetitive. Like, there's no reason for there to be 7 plagues other than just God likes the number 7 for some reason. And then the last plague is to kill the firstborn son. So every time, I remember this when I was reading. I don't think they do this in the movie, but Moses comes to Pharaoh and he's like, "Let my people go," and the Pharaoh's like, "No." So, well, actually, okay. So the Pharaoh says, "Okay, I'll let your people go." So he lets them go, but then he changes his mind and he goes out to get them. I just got really self-conscious for some reason, like I was talking too loud. And then he brings them back, and then another plague happens, and then he goes to the Pharaoh and he's like, "Let my people go," and he's like, "Okay," and then the Pharaoh brings them back 7 times. I don't know why. That's part of the story. Why he can't just be, the Pharaoh denies him. Why does he have to accept it and then get them back? It's kind of weird. I think that's probably what they do in the movie. Press the A button, press the A button. I don't know if they have that conversation really in the movie. But I remember them making the pharaohs more like human. And having their motivations be kind of more realistic than just like their evil slave masters, and the brother being like, why are you doing this to us? Why are you giving us all these plagues? And Moses saying, it's not me, I'm telling you, it's God. He can't stand for this this slavery thing. You have to let the people go, or it's going to keep happening. And the Pharaoh would say, this is you, you're doing this to us, stop. You were my brother and we loved you, and now why are you doing this to us? I don't know, I'm probably not explaining it well. It sounded so much better in my head. Missed. I should have just done tackle. Wasn't paying attention. I wrote down that line. I must have heard it from somewhere, but I like the idea of Moses saying, or coming back and his brother being like, let's celebrate, my brother's back, and Moses is like, until my people are free, I have no reason to celebrate. And then Pharaoh's like, well, why did you come back? And he's like, I came back for the same reason I left. Let my people go. I don't think I've ever seen I've seen Ben-Hur, which is kind of about Moses, I think. It's like about Moses' cousin or something. Judah Ben-Hur. Or is it, I'm just remembering it now. Is it meant to be like a similar story to Moses? Because I don't remember. Because I think I remember Ben-Hur is like he grows up with the Egyptians the same. Like an Egyptian family. The Pharaoh. For some reason I remember that. And then he rides in a chariot, and then that's all I remember. Sometimes it's not great to write too many notes, I think. It sounded better in my head. The Ten Commandments, I don't think it's about Moses, his life with the Egyptians too much. Right, it's about afterwards. Or maybe not, I don't know. I've never seen that. The Ten Commandment part is when Moses is like an old man and they're in the wilderness wandering around. That's a cool part of the story, where it's like, Moses frees his people. He gets through the Red Sea, and there's the fire tornado that helps him, and that's the end of the Prince of Egypt. But in the Bible, there's a lot more stories with Moses. and he kind of struggles a lot, and he has more. It's not the end of the story. People don't really listen to him, and he never gets to the promised land. I guess that's also kind of why the stories are so good, is because there aren't happy endings for any story, really. Even, I mean, Jesus' story, it's a happy ending for us, but not really. I guess it is for him too, because he comes back to life. But the crucifying thing isn't. It doesn't sound like fun. If they wanted the story to be super upbeat, they could have left out some parts of the. It could have just been like Jesus died and now he's back to life. But they make it dark and gross, and they don't sugarcoat anything. Like, Jesus got whipped and his back was ripped open and his arms were pierced, and they put the crowns on his head, and his hair was like getting ripped out, and it's gross. But that's what makes it a good story. Let's just press A some more. Let my people go. Pharaoh says, "This isn't God, this is you. Don't lie." I didn't really get too much done today, but I think I'll end after, I don't know. I guess I didn't have as many notes as I thought. I kind of tore through them. I really like that song, Deliver Us. I've listened to it a lot, and I'm always surprised by how much I like it every time I hear it. There's a line. Remember us in this burning sand. And every time I hear that, I think of Bernie Sanders. I can't not do it. I don't want to do it, but every time I think of burning Sanders. I can't do it. I can't not do it. It's annoying. I'm gonna zap ya. Okay, I've been doing this for a while, but I've only done three episodes. I'm not doing a good job. I need to get better. Be better. Come on. Okay, the next game will be a surprise. I don't know what I'm gonna do. gotta jump around. I don't know. I think I don't like watching YouTube shows where the person's like super energetic and in your face, and it's like exhausting. But this can't be much better anyway either. You know, this can't be much better than that. Somebody who's like seems like they're about to fall asleep. I promise I'm not. This is the most energetic I get. If you can imagine. I still feel like I'm not 100% myself or comfortable. I don't know what that would be. I don't think I've ever seen myself be 100% comfortable in a context with other people watching, or like in a social context since I've been an adult. You know, 10 or 15 years or whatever. I've never seen myself like that. So I don't know what that would look like. But I haven't gotten there yet here. I can tell. So there's another goal for the channel. Be more energetic. Be more comfortable. Got it. Just be more comfortable. Oh, okay. Okay. See you tomorrow.